Aloha and welcome again to Language of the Soul Astrology Talk Radio. Hi everybody, I'm Ora'lea Starr. Welcome. It is Monday, February 22nd, and we're going to talk about the astrology from today, the February 22nd through Sunday, February 28th. And as some of you may know already, I like to start out with a poem. Last week was kind of a rough week. I have another Mary Oliver poem, and I'll have to read because I have not memorized it. This is called The Morning Poem, and it's from her Dreamwork collection in 1986, and it's called Morning Poem. Every morning, the world is created under the orange sticks of the sun. The heaped ashes of the night turn into leaves again and fasten themselves to the high branches, and the ponds appear like black cloth on which are painted islands of summer lilies. If it is your nature to be happy, you will swim away along the soft trails for hours, your imagination alighting everywhere. And if your spirit carries within it the thorn that is heavier than lead, if it's all you can do to keep on trudging, there is still somewhere deep within you a beast shouting that the earth is exactly what it wanted. Each pond with its blazing lilies is a prayer heard and answered lavishly every morning. Whether or not you have dared to be happy, whether or not you have ever dared to pray. Hopefully that last part actually welled up. The moon is in Cancer today. It welled up a lot of emotions within me and really happiness. I mean, what is happiness? It's kind of a state of mind. So in this poem, she was talking about kind of that thorn in our side versus just rolling and accepting and being happy. And I think that's a big theme right now, more so than ever. So thank you, Mary Oliver, for that. And before I go into the cosmic weather for the week, I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Maui Healing Retreats. And they offer one-on-one personal and private coaching sessions just to help gain clarity and information on how to best live your life. And let's face it, I mean, right now, who doesn't need a little bit of help? So whether you need a one-on-one session, couples counseling, or shamanic healing, Maui Retreats has definitely got you covered. And when you contact them at 808-870-3711, make sure to ask about their Kama Aina rates. They have some really great Kama Aina rates and some super great shamanic healing. I can recommend someone personally if anyone wants to contact me later. You can also visit their website at www.mauihealingretreat.com. So thank you, Janet Baldwin and Maui Healing Retreats. Okay. So now we're going to sail into the astrological insights for the week, find out what's happening in the stars. Today we have an all-day Cancer moon. And the Cancer, when we're under the influence of the Cancer moon, Cancer is very clannish. It's very much about family, but not just your own family. Like whoever Cancer takes into their inner circle is considered family. And Cancer is very, very protective. Like if you think of the crab, it's got these big pinchers out in front and it kind of moves sideways. And when it gets scared or alerted, it goes into a hole and then it comes back out. And so Cancer is this sometimes moody, sometimes secure, but really nurturing maternal energy. I mean, the symbol for Cancer is a mother nurturing its child. And so, it can bring up a lot of emotions, but it's also a cardinal sign. It's cardinal water. So the way we can think of that is like a rushing waterfall or a rushing rapid river. I mean, those emotions are coming at you. And it's kind of like this energy of Mama Wolf. And imagine these pinchers. It said, don't mess with my babies. Don't mess with anybody in my clan because I'm gonna come out. And when Cancer is feeling needy or insecure, like that inner child part of us, I talked about this last week, then we may need to retreat into our shells for a little while. And it's all about experiencing our vulnerability and being able to experience our emotions today and gain a sense of safety and a sense of being loved and nurtured and cared for so that we can come back out of our shell and move into the world and take care of others and take care of ourselves. Also, I want to remind everybody that we're still really under the influence of this Saturn square Uranus that I talked about last week. And this was, in a nutshell, about, there's 1111 again. Okay, it's becoming a weekly ritual. This number to me means everything's exactly the way it's supposed to be. For better or for worse, we're right in the flow. Anyway, this is about breakdowns leading to breakthroughs. Now, we know, anybody who turned on the news can see that there were a lot of events last week. We had the freeze in Texas and millions of people without power and new variants of the coronavirus. Ted Cruz is in a world of trouble because he bailed out on his own state. And I'm sure that there are other worldly events, and then we can check in closer to home. What happened for everybody last week? I know I had a pretty big darn week last week. And it required just a lot of breathing, inhale and exhale, a lot of the serenity prayer, a lot of just surrendering, because there are things happening right now that are bigger than we are. Also this morning, the moon kind of made an angle of adjustment to Saturn in Aquarius. So Saturn is like a stern father or a stern teacher, and it wants us to be disciplined. And pay attention to our responsibilities. And when it's making this kind of connection to the moon, it's really asking us to make some emotional adjustments in sobering our emotions a little bit, if you will. So I just want to, again, wrap up Monday by reminding people that this Saturn-Uranus square, we're still at a tight 7-degree connection here. And this is really just whatever everyone's experienced over the last week and continue to experience this week. We've now been introduced to kind of in our personal lives the opening scene, the opening plot. We're beginning to get an idea of where things are headed, where there might be some breakdowns that will eventually lead to breakthroughs, or maybe there already are some breakthroughs. It's kind of security versus freedom. And fear versus adventure. But again, we're being asked to saddle our responsibilities while also being tethered to the possibilities in the future and living life the way we want to in freedom. So, all right, that's kind of Monday and part of the rest of the week with the Saturn-Uranus. We should start to feel some relief from that in the next week or two. As some of you may recall, that influence will be with us for the rest of the year. But right now, it's like if we're pressing the red panic button, somebody's finger is still on that red panic button. Maybe in another week or two, it'll kind of start to ease up a little bit. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we have another all-day Cancer moon. So more of that same energy of emotional energy and taking care of others and feeling our vulnerability. Tomorrow that moon will connect with Mars, the god of war, later in the day, but in a pretty empowering way. We may feel a little restless. We may feel emotionally expressive. The moon is our feelings and our emotions, and Mars can be kind of impulsive and direct, and on the shadow side it can be aggressive and angry. And so there could be some words, but again, it can also be productive. We can kind of maybe get some things out in the open and have an opportunity to clear the air. Mercury went direct on Saturday, so we're officially out of the Mercury retrograde, even though we're still for the next week, 2 weeks kind of adjusting. So we're recalibrating, and there may be some discussions that we need to have, and so we could be supported by that Moon-Mars connection. Much later in the afternoon tomorrow, that same lunar energy in Cancer will meet up with Pluto, Dark Lord of the Underworld, but it's also power. Is it the power of Gandhi or the power of, I don't know, Darth Vader, Hitler? Pick your dark character. And so when this happens, we're reminded that we're just kind of like these little tiny specks here on the planet. And we've got to align with something greater than ourselves, whether you call it God, whether you call it Buddha, whether you just believe in nature and the power of the sun rising and setting every day. This is a time where we want to surrender to something greater than ourselves. It's like my will plus the divine will equals real power versus, a feeling of being powerless. We get to Wednesday, and we have a very supportive connection now between Mars and Taurus and Pluto and Capricorn. So this is very earthy, grounded energy. Mars is about our desire and our motivation, our sexuality, and taking action. Pluto, again, is about power and alignment to our soul's greatest intent. Also, surrender. So again, I'll repeat, my will plus the divine will equals really more of a true soul manifestation of our desires. Very earthy and grounded energy that can lead to big manifestation of those future, Aquarius dreams that we have. And this is really this energy is happening on the waxing heels of the full moon that's going to happen very, very late at night on Friday or early morning Saturday, depending on your time zone. So this is a powerful week for manifestation. So we really want to align with our dreams and where we want our life to be headed. And even though things seem a little shaky, and we've been on a lot of potentially what feels like shaky ground this week, I would ask everybody to sort of count your blessings and really be in gratitude and try to see the silver lining in all of the breakdowns and how some of that can lead to something greater, something bigger, something better. On Thursday, the moon will enter Leo, and the moon in Leo after Cancer can feel really optimistic and relieving. The energy of Leo is like this warm, fixed glow in a fireplace, and it radiates all this warmth and heat, and Leo is kind of the archetype of the performer, and it can be a little dramatic, it can be a little narcissistic, and when the moon is in Leo, sometimes we crave a little more attention than usual. And the shadow side and not getting that attention can be a lot of drama and a lot of, hey, look at me. It's like a little kid, hey, mommy, look at me. I'm doing it. I'm riding my bike or whatever. So we would feel a little bit of that energy. And the big thing that's happening on Thursday is that Venus, the planet of love and the planet of money, is shifting from objective, in our heads, Aquarius, where Venus in Aquarius is focused on friendships and on intellectual rapport, but it can be a little detached from our partner because Aquarius likes groups and lots of people. It's less committed sometimes to just one single person, whereas Venus in Pisces, Pisces again is the archetype of the mystic, the poet, the dreamer, the empath. It's the chameleon of the zodiac, and it's very visionary and idealistic. And so Venus in Pisces is going to sort of tune us into the bigger visions in our love life and our friendships and our values. It's really maybe for the next 3 to 4 weeks, Venus will be in Pisces. So it's about soul connections. It's very close to the full moon. So we're building. I see this next month as a big focus in building these deep soul connections and a sense of spirituality, adding a spiritual dimension into our relationships. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and so Neptune is very ethereal energy, and it's the higher octave of Venus. If Venus is our humanly physical love, Neptune is like the divine love, a love for the universe, a love for humanity, just this whole sense of oneness. And so we're really able to open our hearts with Venus and Pisces, but we're also, on the shadow side, can really get pulled down the rabbit hole, because Pisces can be very giving, and sometimes you'll see these kind of victim-redeemer type of relationships where you have someone who's maybe an alcoholic or has a mental illness or has some problems, and then you have the person who loves that person, who's willing to do anything to save them. And it's also about, Venus and Pisces. We might be tempted to just wear the rose-colored glasses with the people we're in love with and be kind of in a delusion and not see very clearly. The most extreme example of that could be domestic abuse, where someone gets a black eye, and maybe it's the woman and she says, "Oh, but he has such a good heart, and I love him so much. I know deep down he's a really great person, and I'm going to stick by his side no matter what." So Venus in Pisces loves to be of service, but there's that boundary to draw there. Also on Thursday, that Pisces sun, so we've got a lot of Pisces energy happening, is making an exciting, more of an empowering connection to Uranus, which is currently squared Saturn and causing us maybe some little bit of trouble. And this energy, again, tunes us into our imaginations and our dreams with the sun in Pisces. But also with the Taurus part, we have structure, we have resources, we have nature. Pisces can pull a rabbit out of the hat, and then Taurus gathers all the resources and starts building. So again, this is just more indication this week of we can really make a lot of headway in manifesting our desires, and making big things happen. So let's move on to Friday. We have a mostly all-day Virgo moon waxing up to being full on Saturday. When the moon is in Virgo, another earth sign, it's sometimes time to get out the broom and the mop and start sweeping and cleaning. Virgo likes purity and being of service and having things in order, and being useful. So I like to think of Chiron as the modern ruler of Pisces, which is about devotion and sacrifice. It's about healing. It's about mending broken bridges and getting in tune with our own sacred gifts and our own sacred talents that we come into the world with and we discover through our own healing, and then we use them to help others. The shadow of Virgo, of course, is perfectionism and criticism, not just of others, but of the self. I think of I can remember a time I was visiting a friend, and she had a 10-year-old son, and he was asked to clean the kitchen, and he cleaned the kitchen, and he did it to the best of his ability. And then the father came in, and instead of saying, "Wow, great job, son, thank you for cleaning the kitchen," he put on the proverbial white glove and just started pointing out the few things that the kid didn't do, and my heart was just sinking. So this is that Virgo energy can sometimes, while it's seeking perfection, be a little overly critical. Let's dive into Saturday. I'm looking at the time. I want to make sure I have time for callers. Saturday we have a full moon at 9 degrees Virgo. So when the moon is full, it's in opposite to the sun. So the sun in Pisces is shining its full light onto the moon, and that's how we see that great big circle there. And remember, so we have the sun in Pisces, which is this very ethereal, spiritual energy where we want to engage our imagination and dream and kind of escape. And then we have Virgo, which is very earthbound and tending to the mundane daily tasks of taking out the trash and paying the bills and being of service and going to work and learning new skills. So really, the greatest manifestation that I see of this is bringing our Piscean visions down to earth. I mean, this is what we want to do. We want to go out, we want to grab our visions, we want to ground them and bring them back down to earth. We engage the imagination and then let the analytical mind take over and see how it's going to work together. And what Virgo and Pisces have in common is they're both about sacrifice and they're both about service. We can sometimes feel a little, I call it the Cinderella syndrome. Pisces wants to be out in the ethers. It doesn't want to have to come down and get out the mop and the bucket and do the dishes. So we can sometimes feel like our carriage has turned back into a pumpkin. But again, we also have Saturn in the mix with this full moon. And it's asking us to make some adjustments. Saturn, the stern taskmaster is saying, hey, we're on a schedule. We're on a time limit. And we have duties and responsibilities. There's also limitations and obstacles. And so attached to this full moon is the need to have some patience and some perseverance and some planning, which can lead to a lot of wisdom, a sense of accomplishment, and self-mastery. So what do all three of these entities have in common? The sun in Pisces, the full moon in Virgo, and Saturn in Aquarius. They all have the need for alone time and for solitude. So make sure you carve out some time to just, breathe, inhale and exhale, and just take things down a notch, and then come back in when you're ready. Sunday, we have mostly an all-day Libra moon. While we're sleeping on Saturday night, the moon will make a powerful connection to Pluto. Our dreams could be very insightful. So if you're someone who likes to write, it might be nice to have a journal ready in the morning for whatever kind of insights you come up with. You can finish up all your little Virgo tasks in the wee hours of the morning, and then get ready to be more social this Sunday. Libra is about relationships and balance and keeping the peace, and it's also about cooperation. So how can we kind of lighten up by Sunday? I'm sure we all could use a little bit of lightening up. So that brings us to the end of the cosmic weather report portion. We will be going into a song in the next few minutes. The song that I chose this week is Taking Care of Business by Bachman Turner Overdrive in honor of Taskmaster Saturn, because no matter what's happening, we have responsibilities to take care of, like it or not, and the more we tend to those, the greater our payoff is going to be. So when that song ends, if anyone wants to call in for a complimentary astrology reading, you can call 808-242-7800 and make sure you have your birth date, your birth time, and your birthplace, and we'll do a little reading over the air. So I think we're going to tune out now, and we're going to listen to a little music. I'll see you all after the break.